Welcome into Rover Sports. I'm very honored here to be joined by Copizzle coming into my page and Cop. I mean, we're finally almost to the NFL season. How excited are you for Giants football?
I'm thrilled. Last year really hurt. For a Giant, be a Giants fan, and so it's almost one of them things where it's just you'd love just to see him play a game and just get a win. Just something positive for the organization, because it doesn't seem like anything, even going back to the playoff loss to the Packers and then going through a 3-13, it's like there's never been any good news for the Giants except for, drafting Barkley. But outside of that, we just haven't had anything good happen for us in a long, long time, it seems like. So I'm excited just for him to get the season going and just
it must have felt like a long year, even last year when the Giants were playing Kansas City and just being out of it. That's the thing. When I look at this season, I don't want our football team to be out of it early.
Yeah, which is what we were last year. I mean,
and
if you think about it,
some Coughlin years we've been out of it early.
Yeah, I mean, especially last year when you're talking about you're 0-3 immediately.
Yes,
and then all of a sudden, I think 0-5, and you're just trying to. You're even at that point. You're like talking to you're trying to talk yourself into.
I went to the Chargers and the Seahawks. I'm sorry to interrupt, but we can always talk.
Well, I was just saying that you get to the point where you almost become. I know the bias, but you almost become just not even.
Numb to losing.
You're just so numb that you're like, well, I think we can still make the playoffs if we win this many games.
I was the same dang way when the Giants played the Chargers. I was the sucker that I really thought that we were going to come out and play great. Or what it was?
Which is the game that all the receivers.
Ironically, when Odell went hurt, they played great in the Denver game. And I went to the Seattle game. They scored on the first drive, and I started to say this could be one of the greatest comebacks ever because I blamed actually all the problems on Odell, and for this upcoming season, when Odell goes against Jalen Ramsey, I don't want Odell Beckham. If he catches 2 passes, I don't want him venting. I don't want to turn on Skip Bayless and that show Undisputed. And I don't want them to complain about Eli if Odell doesn't get his catches. You know what I mean? Because Odell, he wants to be one of the greatest of all time. But at the same, I just want him to buy in and I just want to win games. I don't care if he goes against Jalen Ramsey and an elite corner and only catches a couple passes.
That game is gonna be a lot of fun if you think about it. I mean, what a great test for the Giants. Right out of the gate, because I really feel like you're going to be able to know right away what kind of team the Giants have when they play the Jags. Because I think the Jags are going to be a really good team. Jalen Ramsey is arguably one of the best corners, if not the best corner right now in the league.
Yes.
Beckham, you could make the case when he's playing at a high level, he's one of the best receivers in the game. Definitely top 3. And so when those two match up, I mean, something's got to give.
Right.
And so it's going to be interesting to see. You're right. I don't really want Beckham, the guy that's going to go, punch a hole in the wall or the kicking net thing or I don't want that guy. I just want the guy to go out there and play the game and do the best he can and I wish he would just understand that he doesn't have to have 150 yards on 12 catches and 3 touchdowns for the Giants to win. I'm not saying he should be play mediocre, but he can have a good game with having little stats.
And he can block. And I think the problem is social media. I want Odell to just stay off social media. And for the Giants, I look at that first game. I'm very confident going into that game. I actually smack talk a lot of Jaguars fans in my channel. They don't like it because a lot of people think Jacksonville's going to be fantastic. You're one of those guys that thinks the Jags are a consistent winner with Tom Coughlin. And I just look at Blake Bortles. I think they're a very beatable team. If you look at the Jags last year, Copizzle, they got swept by Tennessee. They got hammered at Tennessee. And then even Blaine Gabbert and the Cardinals beat them. On the road, they are a very gettable ball club. On the road, they're very gettable. It's
good that we get them on the road.
And I'll tell you what, though, Leonard Fournette, when he played the Texans the first game of the season, he runs with reckless abandon. And it's not good that the Giants are going to see a fully
healthy,
healthy Fournette, and that's the ultimate test. It's kind of, let's see how Snacks can really play. B.J. Hill, Lorenzo. I'm excited about James Betcher and the type of run defense the Giants are going to have.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think it's actually an awesome opportunity that the Giants have to play such a really good team right out of the gate. If we went and played somebody that we know for sure the Giants should beat, I mean, it would be a win, but at the same time, we still don't know what we got. I think if there's going to be a big overreaction after the first week with Giant fans, because if the Giants lose, the argument is going to be, well,
even a close loss.
Yeah, it's the same. This is 2017.
I would be honestly very disappointed to lose that game.
Well, but if you win it, everyone's going to say, here's a team that's going to make the playoffs.
We're on the rise. The hype is going to get crazy.
I mean, ESPN's going to go nuts and say this team's going to win the East and all.
Well, the great news is we also go to Dallas, so we have no cupcakes anywhere. Well, and that Dallas game is it's going to be awesome. I love having it week 2. I really do. We get a home game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited about, actually, again, if you look at the schedule, it's very tough first 8 games. There's no doubt about it. But I actually like that for the Giants, because we as fans, we need to see that. We need to see what we got.
We need to see the Shermer offense.
Yeah, we need to see that.
We need to see a balanced attack.
We need to see that. We need to see if the defense. I still don't think we saw the true Giants defense last year. I honestly feel like we saw a team that players that, I hate to say it, that quit.
Yeah, they did.
And I think that.
And Ben McAdoo suspending guys. He lost that locker room.
Yeah, quickly.
Fans were quitting on the team.
I mean, in a lot of ways, I just don't think we got to see. It was such a waste year, such a wasteful year last year.
Well, in a way it was, in a way it wasn't, because we did get rid of Ben. We now have a coach in Shermer. Now the thing is, when Pat Shermer was hired, it wasn't, my initial reaction wasn't like, it's not like a John Gruden. It's not like the most fun, like jumping out of your seat. But then seeing him at training camp, seeing how Eli and these guys get along with Pat Shermer, that gives me the confidence that this guy's serious. He's been in the NFL. We're not going to flop.
Yeah, he's not a sexy name. But if you think about New York, and especially the New York media, I mean, a guy like Rex Ryan, for example, that's a sexy name, right? It's a big name.
Fun.
Was in New York, going to give you a great sound bite.
Hard Knocks was amazing.
Hard Knocks, all that stuff. But what did he do?
Inconsistent, would blow up.
Yeah, I mean, so I think Shermer seems like a guy that's going to keep his head on his shoulders. He's not going to give you a whole lot of sound bites. He's just going to do his job as the head coach for the Giants. I think he's going to be a younger style of Tom Coughlin. Now Tom Coughlin obviously was early on a military style, drill sergeant kind of deal.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that's what Pat Shermer's going. What I'm saying is
he is old school.
You're just not going to get a lot from Pat Shermer.
You're like with the media, you're not going to get colorful.
You're not going to get colorful, and I'm fine with that. I wish Giant fans would be more fine with that as well.
But the thing is, he's a good guy.
I think he's
a quality person, and when Ben McAdoo, he was nasty, kind of a jerk. Well, and Pat Shermer is totally not.
If I'm going off of what I saw just last year, okay, the Giants' offense struggled tremendously. The Vikings' offense was really good with Case Keenum as their quarterback. They did not have Dalvin Cook for the whole year, so they were with a backup running back.
They had Murray and
I don't think that I think their receivers are good, but I don't know if they're better than Beckham or Shepard. The combo package.
He made Adam Thielen. I think Thielen was the best receiver.
Okay, but are you taking him or are you taking Beckham?
Beckham's a more talented.
Okay, player. So the point I'm making now, you can obviously break down the offensive line,
and you could break down Odell's, the personalities.
Yeah,
so maybe lean Thielen.
I'm saying obviously the offensive line is important, but I think the Giants have done some good work there in the offseason. The point I'm making is if he produced with that offense in Minnesota, with the weapons that he now has with the Giants, Barkley, Beckham, Shepard, Ingram. Eli Manning, a 2-time Super Bowl MVP QB. Man, I feel like the sky's the limit.
Can I tell you what I think I want to also talk about the fears, though. The fears that I have going into the season. And you never want to talk about the fears, but the fear is, can we run it consistently? You know, can Saquon, or not even consistently, can we pop off and get a big run every now and then? I think
the fears, for me, and they almost kind of go together. Is Eric Flowers ever going to be anything? Mm-hmm. I think we're going to with Solder is going to be on the left side. I think Willie Hernandez is going to be good. I don't think we're overhyping that.
I love how he's mauling guys. In practice, he's fighting guys in practice. That's what I love to see.
My issue, though, is if Eric Flowers is on the right side, hopefully he can improve because he's on the right side. And, I mean, is he going to – I mean, can we run the ball to the right side? Can we do anything to the right side of the field with him? Because, obviously, he's going to have to block somebody. And if he's an issue, he's a problem. McAdoo even came out and said that he was still going to be a problem. You know, he's still – yeah. But, I mean, and I don't know how much you hold into what McAdoo says, but the point is I feel like the Giants are going to be able to run the football if that offensive line plays well. I do kind of wish that – Giant fans, I hope their expectations are not so high on Barkley because of where he was drafted. If the guy goes out and just plays really good, gets close to 100 yards, if not just 100 yards a game, doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes, doesn't have those Tiki Barber moments where you're going to have fumbling issues or just anything. You know, if he just goes and plays a good, solid game, you know, almost kind of like if he plays like Zeke does in Dallas. When Zeke's on his game, or Fournette. Not that he has to beat these guys.
Zeke was the expectation of Zeke Elliott. Zeke Elliott had like one of the greatest rookie years probably we've ever seen.
Well, I'm saying if obviously he doesn't have to show that because I think we have other weapons.
Yes.
I just feel like if he just plays, if the Giant fans don't put too much pressure on him, which I understand you're going to get a lot of pressure with where you're picked in the draft, you got to produce. If they just give him a chance to just work in being a pro, I've got full confidence in him.
I look at this team, and I think this team is a playoff team. I think that this team with Pat Shurmur, I have very high expectations. I don't want to see a flop. I don't think there's any progress to be made with Eli going 8 or 9 wins this year. You know, so at the same time, when I look at this team, I think they're going to be games that are tough. I just want to see us be able to compete, stay on the right track, because last year there were games where the Giants would get blown out. And I think it's all about the offensive consistency with Evan Ingram down the middle. Is John Jerry going to be starting on the right side, do you think, or is it Omana, the guy from the Jaguars? So Brett Jones, Omana, and Eric.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, you know, we got to see. I mean, I think preseason is going to – I mean, I think those games are going to tell a whole lot.
Yeah.
I thought Brett Jones played okay at center last year. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, when Richburg went down, you actually kind of got a little nervous there.
Yeah.
But I actually thought he was okay.
And Richburg was well regarded.
Yeah.
So that's why the McAdoo comments, like, first of all, it just also showed why McAdoo was such a fraud because he didn't do anything about, like, having the crowd.
Well, even that,
like, he blasted players.
Well, it's obvious that by making those comments, you didn't even believe in those players.
Right, and there were no adjustments, no trading, no benching.
No doing anything. And then at the same time, here, look, Eric Flowers, for example, I'm just using him as an example, he might be really bad, okay? Maybe he's one of the worst tackles.
He can't move.
But he has to have some strength. There has to be something in him that says, okay, this is your strength. Let's play to that. Now, sometimes...
I think run blocking
is whatever they feel like that strength would be, okay? But it's certainly not just saying, oh well, he don't have anything, and we just he can't bend, or they're just going to blow by him. Like, it's got to be something, you know. And so it's frustrating that he makes some comments. I think I kind of somewhat appreciate those comments because as a fan, like I kind of like he's telling us a little bit more.
Yeah, it was honest.
It's honest, but at the same time, I think, well, it's kind of the coach's job to make the player better, right?
No, exactly. And you take something that's not a good product and you maximize the potential.
Yes.
You know, you look at the Celtics in basketball, Brad Stevens.
If you don't think that he can do it, I think so let's take Belichick for example. I think Belichick would say, well, Flowers can't play, let's just go ahead and release him. Now, you might say, well, there's salary cap issues with that. But at the same time, you're not just going to throw him out there.
Right.
And say, well, I hope it works. If you don't think it works, let's figure something else out.
Right.
Don't just throw your hands up and just move on to the next play. Mm-hmm. So that's what's a little bit frustrating. It's like I like his honesty, but at the same time, I'm like, man, we could have done something there.
Are you nervous about the Philadelphia Eagles the most in this?
Honestly,
division?
I'm not.
You're not worried about Philly.
I'm not Philly at all.
I'm not worried about Washington or Dallas. I'm worried about the Eagles. And
I'm gonna tell you what.
Wentz.
First of all, I know this doesn't seem like a good argument, but number one, teams never repeat in the Super Bowl. I think a lot of the reason why that is because the hunger is not there. Number two, every single week, teams are going to give you their best game.
Hunted.
Not just they're the hunted now.
They're the hunted.
They're the hunted, and it's not just the Giants going to try to beat them, because I think the Giants really wanted to win those games last year. I mean, if you just look at those games, those performances, those were some of their best games they played all year was against the Eagles. So you're going to get everybody's A game. You would think their schedule's going to be tougher. I know that it doesn't sound. I got a little sneaky feeling about Dallas. I don't know. There's not a whole lot of talk about them.
Snakes.
It's almost like it's even like there's like a snakes in the grass. Like even the Dez Bryant releasing, right? You would think like, well, that doesn't make sense, but at the same time, you're like, well, they have a plan.
They got rid of Derek Dooley, and he was holding their offense kind of back.
Well, I mean, I just feel like. They're going to have Zeke back now. Their offensive line, in my opinion, still has at least maybe a couple more years of goodness on them.
Yes.
Eventually those tires are going to get worn.
Yeah, they got a new left guard in there.
Yeah, eventually they're going to have to scrap that. I don't think Dak is that bad. I don't think he's great, but I don't think he's that bad.
He doesn't scare me at all.
No, they don't scare me, but I think that they're not getting enough respect. Okay,
we'll have to see. Their tight end, is it going to be Gavers this year? He might start.
It's not going to be Witten.
Yeah.
It's not going to be Chase because he's going to be in the booth.
And he's a
Giants killer.
Yeah, he was.
But I know that I feel like the Eagles can make the playoffs, but I just don't.
It's Doug Peterson though. Can the league catch up to the run read option? Like, can they catch up to this guy?
Yeah, I mean,
remember RG3, how incredible that offense was, but then the league kind of catches up to you. You're the hunted.
We also don't know what kind of player Wentz is anymore with the knee, with the ACL. He's going to have to. He may have to reinvent himself a little bit. He may not be able to run. I mean, that was one of the special parts about his game that was especially frustrating to watch as a Giants fan. He would just make things happen outside the pocket, really strong. And I know he's a big kid, but is he? I mean, is the knee still going to be the same? Is he still going to have that same explosiveness? Is he going to still be able to? You can re-injure it too. Not that I'm hoping for that, but you know what I mean. We've seen it.
Possibility.
We've seen it. Once you tear it, I mean, it has the vulnerability to be torn again.
Yes.
So I think that's one thing that I love about Eli is he's never had those. He's had so much more durability to him.
And you knock on wood for that, and he stays in the pocket. Mm-hmm. So you look at James Betcher. One thing about James is he's going to blitz a lot, but then we look at the cornerback, Sam Beal going down. It's going to be Eli Apple's show. Are you worried about giving up some big plays? Like, what do you expect kind of from the defense? Well, I mean, we haven't seen James yet, but do you expect a lot of blitzes? Because with Spags was just rush 4. I don't think we're doing that anymore.
Betcher has, like, the look about him that he's going to be like a head coach one day. Just when you listen to him in an interview, like, he seems like he could
like
be
a firm. He kind of seems like McCarthy a little bit.
Yeah, he seems like he's going to be a guy that if the Giants play really good defense and are in the top categories, he's going to get job interviews. Like, he just seems like a guy that could be that way. Look, obviously there's a lot of hype about him bringing pressure, multiple different looks, more of like a hybrid style defense. I guess I'm to the point where I know that there's a good enough players for that defense to be good. I'm still real high on Landon Collins. If you think about it, this time last year, or even maybe 2 weeks before, but Eli Apple coming out of training camp was probably the most hyped player going into last season. Everybody said he had a spectacular training camp last year. Everybody said he'd grown physically. He looked even better. There was a lot of hype going on.
DRC, like, people just wanted him out. They just wanted to see the kid.
Yeah, I mean, everybody was hyping up Eli Apple, and actually, I personally bought into that hype, thinking like, wow, we're gonna have something special here. Along with Jackrabbit.
He's rangy. He's certainly rangy.
Yeah, and you just heard all this, and then what a terrible, miserable season he had. Even from an attitude standpoint.
Complaining.
Just
and that's
not
the one
even
thing,
caring.
when the New York fans get on you like Eric Flowers, it's hard to shake the mold.
Yeah.
I'm
to the point with him, like, you need to show me something.
And with Landon Collins is in the trust tree of Giants fans. It's funny. He's almost like the voice of Giants fans. He can do no wrong because he really plays tough. He's a throwback player that's just the Jerseyans love.
He has that LT feel to him.
He can hit. He certainly gets interceptions.
I think he has all the makings of being a top 5 receiver. I really do. I'm sorry. Top 5 safety.
Safety.
I think he has every ability to be one of the best in the league. As far as our defense, I mean, I like our front seven. I like our cornerback. If Eli Apple ends up being the guy, of course, it's so weird because we didn't even really want to draft him.
Do you remember when I think it was Landon Collins? He had that interception against the Patriots. I actually went to that game. He dropped it. Brady went down and drove. Was that a Coughlin season? I think it still was, right? Because McAdoo, he was only in there 1 year. Yeah.
Well, they were going to win that game. That interception was a winner.
That helped shape, I think, the hunger of Collins.
Yeah,
and that's why I love having Landon aboard.
Yeah, that's what was frustrating about last season is I think we've got special players, special talent.
Yes,
and it's going to waste when.
Let's list the guys that we think could be special. Olivier Vernon, I think, could be special. B.J. Hill.
I'm okay. I'm on the fence with Vernon, but B.J. Hill maybe.
How about Lorenzo Carter?
Well, I mean, we got to see a game. Obviously, you can hype up a rookie that's never played.
Let's do in and out. Are you in or out on this guy? All right, B.J. Goodson.
I'm in.
You're totally in.
I'm in.
Ogletree. And you can be halfway in, halfway out.
I want to be in, but I mean, how much wear and tear is on him?
Right.
I want to be in on that. Yeah.
I think he's a leader. That's the thing. Connor Barwin, we're bringing in old guys that are leaders.
Give me Antonio Pierce style of leadership. Mm-hmm. If you give me that, I'm in.
You're in.
I'm in.
So the pass rushers, we have Olivier on one side. I think the middle of the defense is good. Who's the other pass rusher actually?
Well, I mean, it could be multiple different things. I mean,
like Win.
You could have Win. A core. I mean, there's multiple options. That's the thing about Betchers. We don't really know yet because there's such a high. It's going to be a hybrid.
Robinson's still
well, I mean, you have you have a multiple different. They really don't need. To me, it's like you would think that the defense outside of the defensive tackles, because you could see Dalvin Tomlinson playing like an end position on that defense, for example.
Right, which
he's more of a traditional defensive tackle. So that's what I'm saying. You don't really have anything set in stone just yet.
Right.
We don't know because it's a brand new. Obviously, it's brand new.
These are all like hit or miss, like BJ, Dalvin. Like they can all come.
They can all be. It could be the greatest, in my opinion. It could be one of the best defenses of all time. It could be a big bust. Yeah. I mean, you really think about it. I mean,
I'll tell you another guy that shows flashes.
I think that I do think that they've got the players that they want
to run it.
They've got the style. They've got the players that they want to run it. It's all about can the players execute it.
And then there's another guy, like just these guys get hurt and they're young. Darian Thompson from Boise State.
Yeah,
I've
heard a lot.
Wild card.
I've heard a lot about the other safety position. About so many different. There's like 4 or 5 guys battling for it. Adams is in that mix. Thompson's in that mix.
He's played a little bit.
So I mean, there's a few guys in that mix, and so. It's going to be interesting to see who comes out of that battle. That's a battle that's up for grabs. I think there's a couple linebacker spots that are up for grabs.
Right.
If Carter goes out there and just ends up being really good, I've got high hopes on him.
I'd like to see B.J. Ogletree and Carter.
I think that other defensive end is. I think I think there's a lot of options that they could do. Obviously, Snacks is going to be that nose tackle.
He's going to play.
He's going to be down in that line. He's going to be there. But that defense has every right to be special. I was really intrigued by Sam Beal. I hate that he got hurt. You know, the fact that the Giants used such a third-round pick on him, basically.
Yeah.
You know.
That whole system was confusing, the supplemental draft.
Yeah, it's a little bit confusing, but, you know, the biggest fear that a lot of people had was that his body wouldn't hold up. He was kind of a slender, you know, smaller build, and sure enough, he didn't even get to practice. So it's kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
And you hope that that's not what's to come, but
the injury bug, we can't have that happen.
Yeah, I mean that's what killed the Giants last year, and you hope you don't see it again.
Yeah, no bug. So Copizzle, he was so kind to have me over, and you know, all the way out here in the South, and just having him, you know, a Giants fan from the South, and a guy that I have on my channel a whole lot. I want to try to get you on the Zoom, maybe video chat, and I'll be on his channel as well. Fun video we recorded today. And yeah, this guy's one of the best Giants fans I know, and thanks for taking the time, man.
Thanks for coming over and hanging out.
No doubt. Go Giants, guys.
Go Giants.